So you should have gotten a message from me saying that it was recording.
Mhm.
Yep.
And the rule for recording, as usual, is that it belongs to everybody, I guess. So everybody's got 51% of the vote in terms of whether this recording ever gets used for anything. But it's the kind of a thing that you can't go back and record if you didn't record in the first place.
Mhm.
If we don't do it, we don't have it. But if any one of us says at the end of a session, I shouldn't have said that, or I don't want that to ever see the light of day, or whatever, then we will delete this recording. That, I guess, is the preamble about that. Anybody got any questions or problems or suggestions or whatever about that?
Good to me.
Okay. Then the purpose of today's meeting, I sent you a beeper, which FedEx says that you got yesterday or the day before, or something like that. Is that right? That's good. And our
Mhm.
task is to make sure that we understand what we're going to do about that. And I guess one more piece of housekeeping about Amber, and that is so the Amber works with the same rules that I work with, basically, which is to say she and I can talk about whatever it is that we do, just as Tristan and I can talk about it, or all three of us can talk about it. Although it's better if we all talk about anything that we're going to talk about, but she's not free to talk about it with anybody else until such time as Tristan and I say that it's okay for her to talk about it,
Sure.
which is the rules that apply to everybody, I guess, except for Tristan. Tristan has a little bit more freedom than the rest of us do. But since we're going to be talking about Tristan's inner experience, this is private stuff for him, and we need to treat that with respect, and which means that we have to recognize that it belongs to him, and and to really know no one else until he says it's all right for somebody else to see it. And I've lost your audio, Tristan.
Ooh,
Now he's back.
okay, cool.
So your audio starts out sort of mellow, and then
Oh, maybe I had because I'm holding my phone, so maybe I had my hand somewhere
uh-huh,
strange.
that's
How's
better
that?
now.
Better?
No,
Okay.
that's bad. So it apparently depends on your hand position there, and
Yeah, I think the microphone is at the bottom of the phone, so
yeah.
very good.
Okay. So any other preliminary stuff before we talk about what we're going to do here?
Um, Not for me.
Okay. So, well, the goal is to get glimpses of Tristan's inner experience, the way Tristan experiences it as he goes about his everyday world, and we've sent him a beeper, and the beeper is going to deliver a random beep, some number of random beeps. Actually are random in the sense that I don't control them, Amber doesn't control them, Tristan doesn't really control them either. They happen whenever the beeper wants to beep. The the mechanics inside the beeper are set so that it should beep once every, or no more than an hour in between beeps. Could be a minute, or it could be half a minute, and it could be 59 minutes, or anywhere in between. They're actually uniformly distributed somewhere along the along that continuum. And your task is to pay attention to the inner experience that was going on 1 microsecond. We like to say 1 microsecond just before the beep occurs. We don't actually believe that it's a microsecond. It could be a millisecond, or sometimes we say it's caught in flight by the beep, and sometimes we say it's the last undisturbed moment before the beep. All those things mean basically the same thing. We want to capture what we really want is to capture what was going on in Tristan's experience if there was no beeper there. So if there was some alternate universe that didn't have a beeper in it but was time locked to this universe, we would like to know what was going on in that other universe just before it gets interrupted by the beep.
Mhm.
And that's not, we recognize that that's aspirational rather than perfect, because it is going to be interrupted by the beep, and we're asking you then to sort of rewind your experience, whatever that means. We think for most people, not necessarily for everybody, and not necessarily for Tristan, but for many people, maybe most people, what was going on in inner experience is sort of in short-term memory, so it it may exist for you to grasp it if you do it relatively quickly. So we want to structure a situation that defines a moment. That's what the beeper is for, and we want you to take stock of what was directly experienced when interrupted by the beep.
Mm-hmm.
And by directly experienced, we mean sort of what you might say before the footlights of consciousness. There's thousands of things that could be at any particular moment that could be competing for your attention. You know, you could be hearing my voice, or you could be seeing Amber's red shirt, or you could be seeing the green square around whatever, or you could be hearing the sound of the air conditioner, or you could be feeling the floor underneath your feet, or you could be whatever. There's a whole lot of stuff that could be occurring at any particular moment. We don't want you to give a catalog of all those things that could possibly be an occurrent. That's not what we're interested in. What we are interested in is what of all of those things, whether it's zero things or one thing or a few things, however many, that happen to be directly apprehended by you at that particular moment.
Mm-hmm.
And we expect that it's going to take you a while to get good at that. That's the way people are. People aren't very good at it on the first day, and maybe on the second day. You've done a little bit of this kind of thing with your brother back in the day, and I would like us to forget that we ever did that. We're going to start over again, and that's basically true with us as well. So I'm not casting aspersions on your brother or whatever here. We want to take each day as being a new but better attempt at this than we had before, and not be captured by what we might have said that was incorrect or half correct or whatever on previous days. So that's basically the story of what it is that we're going to do, and I'm happy to answer any questions about that if you got them.
I think I have a pretty good sense.
Okay. Then let's talk about the beeper. So the beeper has, let's turn on the beeper and tell me what happens when you turn the beeper on.
Okay, so what is turning on? Is that switching the little button?
Nope, there's the black thumb wheel on that thing. So twist the black thumb wheel until it clicks and then continues to move.
Okay, so I'm going to set my phone down, and then, so I presume I'll only know if it's on by hearing it, don't I? Which direction? So there's a click, and there's a click. Okay, so there's more space on this click side, so I think this is on.
So is it beeping in your ear?
I do not hear a beep.
So let's unplug the earphone, pull it out, yeah. And now do you hear a beep? So let's turn it off until it clicks again. Did it click?
It clicked.
And then turn it back on again. And is there any kind of a beep at all? You shouldn't have to hold it up to your ear. In this case, you should just be able. It should be. There's an onboard speaker, and it should be loud enough for you to hear it. So there shouldn't be any question about it. If there's no question for you about whether it's beeping, and then it's not beeping.
Okay, then it's not beeping. Maybe.
Okay. So what that probably means is that the batteries jostle loose in the shipping. So there's a battery compartment.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
So what did you do to make it do that?
I just pushed the batteries further in.
Okay, good. All right, so put it back together again, and
Yeah.
so now let's do this. Let's do this exercise again. Let's turn it off, and then turn it back on again, and tell me what happens.
Beep.
Okay, and it continues. It's continuing
Yeah.
to beep.
Yep.
And if you push the white button, it'll stop the beep.
Yes.
Okay, down. That the beeper is. So let's turn it off again. And given that we've got some kind of a problem, now what I want you to do is to push the white button down and hold it down, and then turn it back on again. Keep holding the white button down and turn it back on again.
Holding, turning on. It gave
And
some chime song.
and did that chimey thing sound like da 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 da?
Yep.
Okay, good. That means that's what tells me. So you don't need to worry about that anymore. What that means is that the switches that are inside the beeper are set the way I want them to be set.
Excellent.
So that's for me to know. You don't really need to know. We're just checking to make sure that the beeper is operating. So right
Right.
now, is it beeping or is it stop beeping?
Well, I took my hand off the white thing, so it's kind of got the prolonged beep again.
Okay, so let's stop the beep by pushing the button one more time and hold.
Okay.
So next time for every other time when I say push the button, I mean push it and release it. Push it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So now it's doing nothing.
Do nothing.
Okay. Now, one more thing that I want you to know about this is that if you push the button and hold it down, do that, push the button and hold it down, it should emit a square wave. Beep, beep, beep.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what it's doing.
Yep.
That is designed for you to check to see whether the beeper is operating. If you push the button and hold it
Mhm.
down, then it's on. And it also gives you a chance to adjust the volume. That thumb wheel is a volume control.
Right.
So
Right.
you can you can hold the white button down and move the wheel back and forth and adjust the
Yep.
volume. And what you want is a comfortable volume so that it doesn't startle you, but so that it's not so soft that you're thinking, is that the beep? Is that the beep? Is that the beep? Oh, yeah, that's the beep. You want the easily apprehendable volume control.
Mm.
All right. So now we know how the beeper works, with one minor exception we'll talk about in a little bit. Let's put the earphone in. And first off, before you put the earphone in, let me show me the earphone in the.
So I, the way I thought it would be is that this goes through this, and
That's,
then I hook it around here, and then put this little guy in there. Is that it?
well, you missed your ear. So push that thing on hard, the hook on
Right.
hard,
Right.
and
No, it's
that's
kind of broke. The hook is kind of broken at the end. Is that normal?
the hook is broken.
Yeah. This is broken. Maybe a little glue. You see that?
I see that. I see that. Somebody must have handled this material or opened it up or something, because the beeper was working when I sent it to you, and that hook should not be broken.
I wonder if it's my fault, though.
That
This
doesn't
could all
matter.
be my fault.
So a
Um,
little bit of crazy glue in there probably is going to be all right. But
right.
hold it up for me one more time so that I can. So put the earphone into it.
Okay.
So that's the way it should be, and feel free to put a little drop of crazy glue in there.
Right.
You're not going to send me back any of that stuff. This stuff is for you, and when you're done with it, you're done with it.
Okay.
And
All
so feel free to put
right.
a piece of crazy glue or a little piece of tape or whatever works for you to make that.
Yeah.
And now let me see. That looks like what it's supposed to be doing. Yes, that's our goal. And you might have to do a little repair work on to
I'm
make
gonna,
that feel secure.
and I can test the volume to see if I hear it. Yeah. Good. Hear it
Okay,
pretty well.
good. So and go ahead and play around with the volume and make sure that you can hear the volume get louder and softer with the thumb wheel.
Yeah.
Okay. So now is it beeping right now?
It is not.
Good. So what that means is that the beeper has decided that the beeper knows when it's going to beep again. I
Mm.
don't know, you don't know, nobody knows, but sometime within the next hour, it's going to beep. And when it beeps, it's going to emit a long beep, more or less like the first one that you heard when you turned it on, except that it won't go, oh, it'll just see boom, but then it'll keep going for basically ever. And your task is, when you hear that beep, to rewind your experience to just 1 microsecond before that beep occurred, and freeze, quote, freeze, take a snapshot of, quote, take a snapshot of, pay attention to, whatever, what was going on with you in that microsecond right before the beep occurred. And that it doesn't mean that your experience has to be short. It could be a long experience. It could be going on for an hour or 2 minutes or 30 seconds or 1 second or whatever. But we wanted what was caught in flight by the leading edge of that beep.
Right.
And then jot down some notes about that. I sent you a notebook. Did you get a note? Did you get a notebook?
I got the notebook. Yeah.
You can feel free to use that notebook or do it on your phone or whatever. I think the notebook is probably the best way, but people are different about that. But basically, the notes are your tool to capture whatever was going on in your experience so that we can talk about it within the next day. So I don't care what you write. If one word's enough, write one word. If a whole page is enough, write the whole page. If you want to draw a picture, draw a picture. If you want to do it on your phone rather than a notebook, that's okay. Whatever is the, excuse me, whatever is the best way for you to be ready to convey to us what was going on in your experience when we get together and have an interview about it.
Great. Yeah.
And that's basically all there is about the whole procedure, with one exception, and that is, I'm going to tell you about it, but we're probably not going to demonstrate it here. But if for some reason you were to take the beeper off but not turn it off, when you're done, you should turn it off by rolling the thumb wheel until it clicks off. If you were to forget to do that, and say you were to take the beeper off but not turn it off, and you were to set it aside, it would sooner or later beep. And when it beeped, it would beep for a long time. And by a long time, it's like a minute. It's actually not a lifetime, but it beeps for a minute or so. And then to save its battery, it goes into what we call the chirp mode. And the chirp mode is just a battery saving deal, but it sounds more or less like a smoke alarm when the battery gets low, a little chirp. And then 30 seconds later, it goes chirp. And then 30 seconds later, it goes chirp again. That is not the beep. The beep is the sound that you've already heard, but there's this little chirp. If you hear that, what that means is you set me aside and forgot to turn me off. So turn me off, and then turn me back on again, and then we're ready to go again. So we're going to decide when we're going to meet again, which will be for the first sampling interview, and then. So why don't we do that now? Actually, let's do that later. Let's do that. But let's say we figure out we're going to meet a week from today at the same time. Let's say we figure that out. Then sometime within.
You want to do a week from today? Because I could do starting now, but I guess you're busy maybe.
Well, so tomorrow would be good as far as maybe not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. We could do Monday. Well, let's figure it out. Let's figure out when we're going to meet. I could actually do tomorrow if we wanted to do tomorrow. We wanted to do in the morning tomorrow, or Monday is a holiday, but I'm happy to do it in the morning of tomorrow as well.
Yeah, tomorrow, just give me a time and I can probably, what would work for you?
Same time on Monday. That
Same time on Monday.
Work for you?
Noon for me. Okay.
Are we able to do 1 hour later? Or is that too late?
Works for me.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, 10 our time is
10 o'clock our time, which would be 1 o'clock New York time.
Okay.
On Monday the 20th.
Oh, on Monday? I thought you were talking about tomorrow.
We could do tomorrow. Tomorrow is okay with me too.
Okay.
I too thought we were talking about tomorrow.
All right, tomorrow's good.
Okay.
So tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right. So what that means, Tristan, is that sometime between now and tomorrow at 10 o'clock, you should wear the beeper until you get about 6 beeps. And by about 6, I mean 5 or 6 or 7 or something like that. It's not a magic number. But it's going to take you roughly 3 hours to get, wearing the beeper for 3 hours to get 6 beeps. And the reason for that is that the beeps are uniformly distributed. The intervals between the beeps are uniformly distributed with a maximum of an hour. And so the average is going to be like a half an hour. And to get 6 beeps is going to take you roughly 6 half hours or 3 hours. Might be 2 hours if the beeper is in a hurry, and it might be 4 hours if the beeper is slow, or 5 hours actually. Could be 6 hours, but it isn't likely. So probably it's going to be more or less 3 or 4-ish hours. Okay?
Right.
And then when the thing beeps, well, so at some time between now and tomorrow, when you think you can wear it for 3 hours, turn the thing on, put the earphone in, glue the earphone together first, and then put the earphone in. And the object about gluing the earphone is you want the earphone to be secure. You don't want to be hassling with the earphone over and over again. You want it.
Yeah, I think it might be fine. It feels pretty good. It doesn't feel like it's going anywhere.
Okay. And then another hint is that you might find it convenient to run the wire for the earphone inside your shirt.
Right.
Because that will keep the wire for the earphone sort of pinned against your neck, and then it won't be going anywhere. It won't be flopping. But I don't really care one way or the other. You got to work out the mechanics of whatever works for you. The other advantage is if you have the earphone wire out there, it snags on doorknobs or whatever as you go about your everyday life. So inside your shirt has some advantages. But I'm not trying to talk you into that. I'm just saying work it out whatever is convenient for you.
Yeah.
And then, so the thing is going to beep. You're going to jot down some notes about that beep. Well, first off, the thing is going to beep. You're going to freeze your inner experience. Then you're going to stop the beep. Then you're going to jot down some notes about it. And then if some number of minutes later, the same thing is going to happen, and you're going to get us 6 beeps. And then tomorrow at 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, we're going to talk about those. And that conversation is going to be like, well, Tristan, what was in your ongoing experience at the moment of the first beep? And we'll do that second beep, etc. And we expect that we'll have to learn how to talk to each other about that. And so it's a process where maybe we're going to get better at it as we go, and we don't have any preconceptions about what we're going to find.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Any other questions, comments? Amber, did I say everything I was supposed to say here?
I think that all sounded about right, yeah.
Okay. We don't have a script because we don't think a script is a good idea. The object is for the three of us as interested, intelligent people to try to get as high fidelity a view of Tristan's experience as we can get. And I've sketched out what experience has shown me to be sort of a good thing to do that. Maybe it'll work for him, maybe it won't. We'll find out. Maybe we'll alter it as we go to try to get better at it.
I'm very curious, so see what turns up.
Okay. Then I think I am good as far as what we have. I think we have accomplished what it is that we should accomplish today.
Maybe just letting Tristan know about the reminder emails and all that, just so that.
Yeah, we'll send you an email. Actually, Amber will send you an email, which she'll do right now probably, reminding you that you should wear the beeper between now and then. That's our standard procedure. And,
Okay, cool.
And we'll make a calendar invite that has the dates, so make sure we keep our time zones straight. It's a simple game that we're about to play here, in the sense that we are trying to do whatever it is that we need to do in order to get a high fidelity glimpse of whatever happened to be going on in Tristan's direct experience. And we're going to try not to worry about what he thinks he does in general, or what I think he does in general, or what I think he doesn't do in general, or what he thinks he doesn't do in general, or whatever. We're not interested in generals. If there are generals, they will emerge from the process. We're going to try to take each beep as if it was its own thing, not typical of Tristan, not typical of people in general, not the same thing as I do or Amber does.
Yeah, we'll
Trying to
see.
get in.
Tomorrow we might be reading some very uh, annoying text, so that may be the topic, but we'll see. We'll see.
If that's what the topic is, that's what the topic is, and that's part of the reason why we do this on multiple days, because presumably you'll be doing different things on different days. This is going to be a Friday, Saturday, and next time we do it, it might be some other day, and so there would be different things to do. And even if you are engaged in the reading of something, that doesn't mean that your experience is tied to that. So at the moment of some beep, you might have been distracted to think about what you're going to have for dinner or whatever, and
Yeah.
then that's what we'll find.
All right. Yeah, that's great. Think I've got it. The mechanics comprehended, so I'm ready.
All right, good. Well, let's. I think we're done for today then, and we will see each other in 24 and a half hours.
Okay. Thanks, Russ. Nice to meet you, Amber.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, see you later.